Alrighty, so we are recording and let's get to it. So the first thing I want to say is thank you very, very much for attending today. I'm again excited to teach you what I know about this site that I love and enjoy, and I want to share with you how to do those details. So I'm going to turn this screen off and go back to the presentation. So first of all, are you in the right place? Well, this is an important question in case I don't want to waste your time here. I want to make sure that everyone is learning the entire time and that I'm filling this with complete actionable information that you can apply today as soon as this webinar is over, or even during it if you'd like. So you're in the right place if you're looking to meet investors and real estate professionals on BiggerPockets. You're in the right place if you want to establish yourself as an authority in your area or in your industry. You're in the right place if you want to market to and generate leads from BiggerPockets users. You're in the right place if you want to promote your company or business and attract followers. And here's a quick outline for today. So the first, we're going to talk about what is BP. I'll introduce myself and why I'm the one that's giving this talk today. Then we're going to talk about our users, who they are, where they come from, why they're going to be good clients for you, or why they wouldn't be. And we're going to talk about how to start doing business with those users. We're going to talk about the power of being active on BiggerPockets that you may not have thought about. And then this is obviously a discussion of BiggerPockets. I'm going to discuss the Pro membership and why you might want to consider us paying a little bit of money for the expanded features of that Pro membership. So first of all, I'll introduce myself, and I don't, well, Brandon likes to keep putting this picture into my presentations. I do not actually have that mustache. I wish I could grow it. It's pretty hilarious. But that's me right there. So I'm the director of operations here at BiggerPockets. I deal with a lot of ad sales. I work on new projects. I create content. I blog, and I create these webinars, give some talks about other types of real estate, especially for newbies. And I work on kind of growth projects and user retention. I'm also a real estate investor myself. I'm just getting started. I have a little duplex. I'm actually closing on another property next Friday and moving in there. I'm very excited about that. And I'm a BiggerPockets enthusiast because I found BiggerPockets to help with my own business. I'm also a Hawaiian shirt enthusiast, and I'll show off my favorite one right there. It is a Friday, but it's not quite time of year where I'll be wearing Hawaiian just yet, but I'm excited for that time when it comes. All right, so enough about me. What is BiggerPockets? BiggerPockets is the home for online real estate investing. And I'll get into some details of what that means, but that's kind of us in a nutshell. The first component of that hub, that home for online real estate investing, is our free education. We believe that we give one of the highest quality educations that you can get in real estate investing in a comprehensive way, from the top down and all the way into those niche topics that are related to specific cities, neighborhoods, etc. And we do that in a couple of ways. The first one is through our blog. This is curated content by BiggerPockets that seasoned real estate investors write for. So we've got an editor, Allison, who vets these authors and posts the content to the blog. And the content is just really high quality. It's different experts in their field sharing tips and tricks, and from all the way from more advanced topics like taxes to very basic topics like setting goals and building and hiring employees. The next big area of the educational realm of our site is the podcast. I mentioned the podcast because it's one of those places on the site where really dedicated users, really dedicated listeners really feel like they know our hosts, they know Brandon, they know Josh, and these listeners have listened to hundreds of hours. There's 150 podcasts. They're each like an hour and a half. When you listen to that much real estate content and content of that quality, you become very well educated. So the users on BiggerPockets have this education from that blog and the podcast, and they really know their stuff. They may not be experienced investors. They may still have lots of those first-time qualms that things still may be intimidating to them. And again, there's lots of really experienced investors on BiggerPockets as well. But for the most part, these are going to be people who know the basics and who understand what's going on with real estate investing, the pitfalls, the tribulations, and all those things. The next area of education we have is we have a course. We may see more expansion of these types of courses in the future, but for now, this is just a good introduction to real estate. All right, the second part of that online real estate hub after education is the community. And the key words in this community are welcoming. This is a welcoming, a friendly, an experienced, and intelligent community. And that's most evidenced by our forums. These forums have really high quality discussions going on at all hours of the day and night, and we monitor them very heavily. We make sure that people aren't spamming, aren't being sleazy, aren't being unprofessional, and that the discussions are top notch. And we really do monitor almost every single post that comes out on these forums. And you can see that we've had almost 1.5 million of them. So actually, this is a little outdated. The forums look a little bit different. We updated them on Wednesday. I didn't have a chance to update these slides, but the look and feel is a little bit different. But this is the core of our community and a really important part of who our users are and how to interact with them. The last thing that is a part of that real estate hub are powerful tools. These tools range from things like our BiggerPockets calculators, which are very powerful in their ability to allow you to analyze property and not miss critical inputs. Things like CapEx, things like insurance, things like repairs. Common expenses that are coming with all real estate properties, our users can use these calculators and other tools like them to avoid making big mistakes when it comes to analyzing properties or purchasing them. All right, so who uses BiggerPockets? Well, there's several different types of investors, and I'll give you three examples here of users that I've worked with in the past and that I've interacted with on the forums. So Joel Owens is a investor who's been around on BiggerPockets for a very long time, and he not only is a real estate professional, a sales agent, real estate agent, but he also is an investor and uses that to build his brand, and build his reputation and build his business. And it synergizes very well with his professional career as an agent. Bree Schmidt is kind of our classic example of someone who, wanted to invest in rental properties to have passive income to quit her job, and succeeded in doing so, and is now a big shot investor and has been on our podcast and been featured in many different parts of our site. James Vermillion is a kind of that more classic investor who is already a little bit bigger when he joined, and has been using BiggerPockets to do things like flip and find lenders and connections to help build his business. So there are 5 key categories that I like to describe when I'm talking about investors on BiggerPockets. And they're going to range from, in level of experience, from the newbies to part-time landlords. And the newbies are going to be guys that are, not necessarily brand new, but maybe new to investing. They could have really good credit. They could have lots of experience in other types of investing, but are trying to get into real estate, maybe for its passive income potential, maybe because they've, moved to a new location and want to keep their property. A whole bunch of different reasons, and the newbies are really a big spectrum that a lot of real estate professionals kind of overlook. After all, everyone was a newbie at some point. The next category of investor on BiggerPockets are the part-time landlords. Part-time landlords encompass a huge variety of people. They include people like me who own a duplex on the side while working a job, to people that might have inherited a property from a deceased relative or someone of that nature. And then a full-time investor is obviously going to be the guy with a little bit of a bigger portfolio who's really starting to scale his operation. That's obviously a prime target for you guys, and we'll show you how to get in contact with those types of people on BiggerPockets in just a moment. The next category of people on BiggerPockets are you, the professionals, the agents, the lenders, wholesalers, all the different types of real estate professionals, the marketers that are trying to attract real estate investor business. And these are some of our most valuable users because you guys are the ones that are experts in your fields, and you guys are the ones that can provide real value to our investors by answering their questions when they're discussing problems they might have in your area of expertise. And the last category I want to mention is the non-member. BiggerPockets is a forum, but just because only 1 or 2 people respond to your thread or your reply does not mean that hundreds or potentially thousands of more people are going to be viewing that post. And I'll get to why that happens again in just a moment here. One other thing I want to point out is that BiggerPockets is growing rapidly. I think we all know that. It's becoming more and more of a home for real estate investing online and a go-to resource. But as we grow, it not only becomes bigger, but it becomes exponentially more valuable as our users succeed in real estate. So think about that for a second. A real estate investor, as a newbie, is just kind of getting started and is not really much different from other, other potential clients out there in the world. But as the years go by, as he gets 1, 2, 4, 8, 12 deals under his belt, the value of that relationship begins to snowball very heavily. And that's something important to remember about BiggerPockets, because I really do believe that because we give the best education and the best resources around, that those users, our users, will become, if they're not already, they will become incredible clients over time as you nurture those relationships. They're not on BiggerPockets because they're looking to fail. They're on BiggerPockets because they know it's a really good resource, it's free, and it'll help them scale. So how do our users find BiggerPockets? Again, this is a really important question to answer if you're trying to network with these potential clients. And the answer is that we are everywhere. And why are we everywhere? Well, it's because our content is the best in the industry. That, and our content is free, which I like to post with this incredible picture of this kid who's just crushing it. Alrighty, so how can you do business? And by the way, when it comes to our content being free and incredible, that's really important because it allows us to rank first in Google for dozens of different terms, for dozens of different long tail keywords. People might search how to invest in real estate and we'll come up first. And then they might search something like what is a good cap rate in Denver, Colorado, and a discussion on BiggerPockets will come up. So there's infinite varieties of keywords that people are searching into Google, YouTube, they're coming across our podcast. We're just trying to get our content and our answers to all the real estate questions in the world out there and direct back to us. All right. So how can you do business with our users? And on BiggerPockets, one of the rules you guys will notice is that we're very strict about how we monitor our forums and our community. And so specifically, we're going to talk about how to generate more business without doing the 5 S's. These 5 S's are things that you cannot do on our platform. Otherwise, your post will get removed and you might get sanctions from a moderating team. And those 5 S's are no sales, no sleaze, no self-promotion, no spam, and no solicitation. Now, this might seem kind of backwards at first. If you can't do these things, how are you going to sell? But trust me, you can actually do a lot more business without doing these things. And again, that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but it's really easy actually, because our platform's so big and because our audience is so engaged. Just by interacting with them in a positive way, you're going to find an incredible source of scalable business. And so let's go through some specific things that you can do either right now, later today, tomorrow, whenever you want, in just moments to start testing this. And the first of those things is just post anything to our forums. Just post anything. When I first joined BiggerPockets, and this is before I started working here, I was a new investor and I stated my goals and what I wanted to do. And within 6-7 hours, 12 people had greeted me. Look at this. Mickey M, an agent from Denver, Colorado, welcomes me and tells me she's going to add me to her duplex watch list. Dmitry Fomachenko, he's another guy, solo 401k guy from California. He welcomes me and gives me some connections to resources. This isn't an accident. They're not posting anything complicated here. They just took 30 seconds and wrote a post. And guess what? Mickey M, that agent, she sold me my house. Again, this is before I joined BiggerPockets as a staff member. I was just using this for my own purposes. And this is how she started the relationship with me. So I think that's, she just posted something and greeted me and made me feel welcome. And it didn't take any time. It wasn't very hard. Just something. Well, guess what? Note that her company is called 33 Zen Lane. Can everyone see that? Well, now she's got a brokerage. And this guy, Dan Mackin, is a member of that brokerage, also from Zen Lane. And guess what he's doing today? He's greeting people with something. Hey, guy. Hey, welcome, Sam. If you're in Erie, come to the meetup. And guess what? That's how he initiates this interaction and sells. In fact, he's actually recently changed his tagline from Erie, Colorado to house hacking specialist from Erie, Colorado. He deals with one particular type of client and greets every single one of them he can, just with something nice at the beginning of the relationship. In fact, he's done this 417 times. Going back to Mickey, she's done it 577 times. So again, this is just post something and opportunity might come to you automatically. Now, let's be obvious here. If you want to do a little bit better than that, why don't you post something really good, right? Even if you're not an expert in your field, you will become an expert by posting a few times, and opportunity will flock to you. For example, I had a debate where I wanted to become more knowledgeable about 401ks and IRAs, and I just posted a long post giving my thoughts on the situation, how I perceive the situation. And guess what? People started messaging me. I'm 25 years old and don't even have really a retirement account yet because I haven't had enough time to build it up. But people are asking me for advice about self-directed IRAs, and this is just from a random forum discussion where I mentioned them a few times. So this, but I believe that the difference is I really put some time and energy into that post and thought out my reply, and people started flocking to me for advice on how to deal with this. And I blurred out this particular user's name for privacy reasons, which you'll see a couple of times for people I haven't asked permission to get on this presentation. So again, I'm not an IRA guy, but watch this. Watch a guy who is an IRA guy and how he interacts with people. So Brad Parks here, this is back in October, he posts something about his IRAs, and notice all the keywords I've highlighted in red here. His Roth IRA, his self-directed IRA. Are there any custodians that would be recommended? I've got some questions about this. Well, note the time that he's posted this. The time is 4:57 p.m. on October 1st, right? Right there in the top right. At 5:15 p.m. on that same day, 15 minutes later, Dmitry Fomachenko, solo 401k expert from Anaheim Hills, California, responds with a really good post, a post that answers this guy's questions and describes what's going on. And guess what? In Dimitri's signature, it talks about who he is, how you can contact him. He's got his website. It shows he's a pro. This is a really good way to get not only that potential user's business, but everybody else who's Googling that same question's business. You can tell this is working for him because he's done it 5,500 times and has even donated money to the BiggerPockets. I do the finances here. I have a donation line, income statement line from people like Dimitri who just get so much business by doing this over and over and over again that they would just like to contribute to BiggerPockets and thank us. A really powerful, incredibly easy way to generate business and to continue doing so over the long term. So again, do you think that gives them business? Literally, just posting intelligently might be all you need to do to be successful in BiggerPockets. That's it. But let's talk about a couple more obvious little things that you can do to improve on that. The first is look professional. We'll look at another guy who's also a donor and also someone I have a long-term relationship with in business development and ad sales and things like that. And that's Chris Clothier. You can see he's a pro member. He's got a professional picture on his profile. He's really filled out things with personal anecdotes. He talks about his experience. He talks about mistakes he's made. This is a trustworthy profile of a great businessman who's done a lot of business on BiggerPockets. And he's got thousands of posts as well. And I'll show you some more examples of things that he does specifically as we look at it. On the other hand, let's look at somebody who's not going to get any business. Come on, no picture, no information about him, no background. He's filled out nothing. How on earth, if you click on Dimitri's, I'll go back here, Dimitri's profile, you're not going to see that. You're going to see a professional, well thought out profile that's really going to, continue solidifying the comment that he made here that this guy's an expert that I want to, connect with and go to when I have questions about self-directed IRAs, right? He's going to look like this, not like this. This should be obvious, but take the time to do it if you're going to actually try to get business here on BiggerPockets. All right. So far, we're talking about things that you can do for free, and free is good. But for serious professionals, we offer the opportunity to really scale and stand out, and that's where BiggerPockets Pro comes in. And we're looking at, and when you do some of these examples, I've used examples of pros, and there's a reason why they're all pros, and the people that I'm using as examples that have been here a long time and are really generating business. And again, this goes back to looking professional. Well, when you look professional, you get a bunch of advantages on your profile. You get to talk a little bit more about who you are, you get to talk about what you're doing, and you get this video that you can have on your profile. This is something that Chris has not actually done yet, but Dimitri and Philip and thousands of other pros are taking advantage of. And it's a great way when, hey, you've got a post about, investing in Vegas. Someone comes to check you out because you're the expert in Vegas. They're going to come look at your profile. They're going to watch the video. And then that's a really good lead funnel for continuing to establish that relationship with a potential client, even before they get to actually reach out to you. They've had a chance to check you out, read your thoughts, really study what you're doing. The next thing is your signature. So Dan Mackin here is another favorite example. He's one of the guys that was hired by Mickey, the lady who sold me my place. And you can see that in his signature, he's got his name, his email, his telephone, his website, and his agent's license number. He's also got his logo, and and this all goes with every single post that he's done. Again, 417 times. Dmitry Fomachenko, also that signature right there. He's got his name, his business, his email, his telephone, his website, a description of his business, his picture, and all these other things laid out. And that's very intentional. He's very intentionally set up every single post very carefully with all of these items that will accompany it. Again, solidifying him as an expert on solo 401ks. Now, the fourth thing that we're going to talk about here is that helps with a pro membership is being good, but being fast. If there's a 100 post thread and you're the 99th post, you're not going to be very effective. People aren't going to read through 100 posts in the category. They're going to read through the first 10, maybe the first 20, and they're going to they're going to get the gist of it there, and they're not generally going to read 18 pages of forum posts. So you want to be not only one of the best responses in the thread, but you want to be one of the fastest responses in the thread. Now, how can you post quickly, but without spending all day on BiggerPockets? So how can you post quickly, and how can you post only to relevant posts? And I thought I'd break it up here with a very cute dog who's questioning this, because that does seem a little bit difficult in terms of how to make these posts. I see there's a question. We'll get to questions in just a second here. I'm about to do a little demonstration, and I'll definitely encourage questions literally in 2 seconds. So the way you become really good and deal with these things really fast is by setting up keyword alerts. To set up a keyword alert, and I definitely encourage everyone to follow along with me and set up their own while I'm demonstrating this, is you go to biggerpockets.com/alerts. And I'm going to pause the presentation here and do a live example, and I would hope for some suggestions from the crowd here. So let's go to biggerpockets.com/alerts. And can everyone see my screen? I'll zoom in a little bit here to make this clearer. So keyword alerts here. So I could set up something, let's say that I'm a hard money lender. And let's say that I only operate in California. Hard money lender, by the way, for those who don't know, is someone who provides short-term financing for projects like fix and flips or rehabs. But let's say I'm interested in that, and I want to be in, and someone who's discussing a hard money loan is probably going to be a good client of mine, or a good potential client. It's probably a discussion I want to be a part of and display my company very prominently in that discussion with a quality post. So I'll list something like hard money, and my extra keyword will be California, right? Because you can see hard money was 1,050 times in the last month, but hard money in California, that was only listed 20 times in the past month. So what I can do is I've set a keyword now that I can be alerted whenever hard money in California is discussed in the same post. That's probably a pretty good post for me to get involved in and to provide a really good response and to do it really fast. So here's what's going to happen if I set this keyword. So let's say I save this keyword, right? Now I've got a hard money and California keyword, and I can choose to get emailed when that comes. I can choose to get an iOS app update, I can choose to get a text message. Again, the text message is going to be a pro only feature. And I can choose to I can get an alert only when that's discussed in the marketplace. So maybe I'm a pro and I only want to know when rental properties in Nevada are for sale. Well, I can set that as well as a keyword, and then only get alerted when that's for sale in the marketplace. So this is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal for really qualifying leads, so that you're only looking at the relevant discussions out of the millions of discussions on BiggerPockets. And then also so you can respond very quickly, right? I can get a text message, I can get an iOS update, etc. Does anybody want to type in that questions category? Hey, let's look at this keyword. My line of business is X. Scott, you want to set up a keyword for me? Does anybody have any questions? I'll give you a minute to type them in here if you'd like. And Andrea, I see your question here. Is there any problem with including office number and mobile number in that pro signature section? No, you can include whichever phone number you'd like. So, and I believe let me know after this if you'd like to include both. I believe there's an option for it, but I'll have to look into it. Oh, you have to have. By the way, Kevin asks the iOS thing is not on his version. The reason for that is that you have to download the iOS app for that to appear. Are there any other questions about keyword alerts? Would anyone like to see some more examples before I move back to the presentation? You can download the iOS app, Kevin, by the way, from the App Store. If you on your iPhone, just go to the App Store and Google BiggerPockets or search BiggerPockets. Alrighty, so I'm going to move back to the presentation here. I hope everyone goes and sets up some keywords because, again, I think they're the most powerful thing you've got on the one of the most powerful tools you've got in terms of qualifying leads, potentially in the real estate industry. So let's close this down and go back to the slideshow. All right, so that's BiggerPockets.com/alerts. Again, we'll use this post as an example from Dimitri. This post is full of keywords if you are a self-directed guy, right? IRA, Roth IRA, self-directed IRA, custodians, self-directed IRAs, the plural. And again, Dimitri responds within 15 minutes. Do you think that he's got this set up to text him every time that a post with that many keywords or that is that loaded as a high quality lead for him comes up? You betcha, he's definitely got that set up so that he is instantly notified and can respond very quickly. He's the next post every time. He's done it 5,500 times. All right, so with keyword alerts, regular accounts get 5, plus members, which is our kind of intermediate subscription, get 10, and then pros get 999, and we'll text you if you ask us to text you for particular keywords. Again, you probably don't want to get texted for hundreds of keywords a month, but you might want to get texted for the 20 that really matter. So very powerful tool. You can tell I use it for my own business. Anytime someone's talking about advertising and BiggerPockets and the same thing, I want to jump in because I sell ads. I'm the business development guy here at BiggerPockets. So I use it for my professional life as well. All right, so the fifth strategy here for doing business with BiggerPockets users is networking. We've talked about keyword alerts and how that will help you network and get in front of users that are asking questions. Next thing we'll talk about are colleague requests. So you can, first of all, go to biggerpockets.com/meet and look for people that are nearby you or that share a certain quality. For example, this is an example of new investors from Denver, Colorado. These are people that I'd want to network with and just get to know just as an investor. And there's no reason you can't do that as a professional. A lot of these guys will want to contact you. But just remember that you can't reach out to these guys with a solicitation right off the bat. That's bad policy and will get you banned from using our private message system. Instead, send a message like this. I send this out to almost every single person that checks out my profile. Again, that's seeing who's checked out your profile is an advantage of the pro membership, and I use it very extensively. So every single person that comes and visits my profile, I send this message out to, or a variation of it, and I just say, "Hi, David. I saw you checked out my profile lately. I just wanted to reach out and help you and see if there's anything I could do to help you." Since I work here and spend all day, every day here on BiggerPockets, I can be a great resource for you. This is a great way to establish connections, and again, you can do this specifically with those that you want to do business with as well. But just to be friendly, reach out, give them a good experience, and this is a huge lead generation machine that you can really scale over time. It takes no work. I just send this quick little message to dozens of people every day. All right. So a bonus thing here that may or may not apply to you is that you can learn for yourself. When I first started writing and posting here on BiggerPockets, I was a total noob, and I'm still a total noob. I'm still learning about real estate investing and still making, comments that might not be correct. And guess what? There are some big dogs on BiggerPockets who will call you out, and they will call you out hard, and they'll do it publicly. And this is a really good thing, especially if you're a professional, because, you're not going to get called out dozens of times. You're only going to make a few mistakes a few times, and you're going to learn, and you're going to be really well informed. You're also going to read a lot of discussions from these kind of big dogs that will show you what's correct, what's not, that will help you think through problems in a way that your competition won't be able to. A good example is one of my first posts. I talk about investing in real estate with no money and how it's a tough concept. And guess what? I got called out by this really seasoned guy named Jeff, and he blasts me for a good 300 words here about me being a wannabe real estate investor, who, it's not that hard. What are you talking about, kid? And that makes me better. That makes me a better writer. It makes me a better salesman. It makes me more knowledgeable about what I'm doing here in BiggerPockets. So I'm really grateful for guys like Jeff, in spite of the fact that it's hard to listen to that at first if you're posting something controversial, if you're posting something publicly. So I consider that to be a bonus, and I think you should too. So I've talked about all this, and how to attract business, how people will come to you organically, how you'll kind of establish yourself as an authority. But I want to talk about something that you may not have thought of when you're posting to the BiggerPockets forums, and that's SEO. So when you post one time, don't forget that not only is that guy that you're responding to potentially a client, but everybody else asking that same question into Google and looking at it that's not logged in is a potential client. And you can't see them, but they're potential business that's floating all around your post. And that may reach out and just kind of land right on you. They may just come out and reach out to you if they've read a few of those things. One of the examples of how this is done is I Googled a couple months back when I was renting to my tenants, how much should I charge for pet rent in Denver? And the first result is a BiggerPockets forum thread started by a guy named Bill S. Bill S. is a real estate agent from Denver who's built his business over a long period of time. And he started that thread, discusses his pet rent, and right there at the end of every single post, he's a pro member, he's got his company, his name, and his telephone number. Do you think that gives him business over the long term? He's done it 1,800 times just like that. So I think it's a really powerful tool to remember, hey, everything you're doing on BiggerPockets, it has the potential to become one of those SEO posts that first result in Google for a specific real estate question. That's really the big power of our website is people are linking to these things when there's good quality answers. They're referring their friends to them. They're searching for them, and BiggerPockets is already a powerful domain. So if it's an abstract keyword, something very specific, a small town, for example, you may find yourself at the top of Google very quickly, and you'll definitely have more opportunity to become first in Google. The more posts that you contribute to the forums, and the better quality those posts are. So again, something very powerful to think about over the long term. When you do it 1,800 times, you might have dozens or hundreds of threads like that that are providing organic leads to you over the long term. All right, so let's recap this and conclude here. We're about 35 minutes in. So pros like you guys, real estate professionals and salespeople, get value just by engaging. Again, just posting anything is better than doing nothing. And you might get business from a 2-sentence greeting to a new member. They're on BiggerPockets, they might be a potential client, and you just being nice to them with no effort might be a good way to just go about dipping your toe into interacting on BiggerPockets. That said, pros like you see a lot more value, obviously, when you contribute with a little bit of effort and a little bit of quality in those threads. That will be, exponentially more valuable over time, especially, and that'll get you, when you get to the thousands and thousands of posts of that type of quality, you'll be an industry expert and leading figure in your particular area of sales. Next, pros like you guys can scale by using our tools to help you better engage. We talked about keyword alerts. We talked about some colleague requests. We talked about the forum signatures, which all link back to your websites. Again, over time, those tools will really help you scale, but they're probably not going to be helpful if you're just going to post once and leave. And finally, pros like you guys will eventually end up seeing passive and huge long-term results that rank in search engines in ways you can't predict if you interact at a high quality over a long period of time on BiggerPockets. Really powerful system. I can't stress that enough. And I'll repeat that one more time. Pros like you can eventually end up seeing passive and huge long-term results that rank in search engines in ways you can't predict. Sound cool? I would like to be that cat. Alrighty, so some action steps here. If you haven't already, fill out your profile and look like you mean business. This guy is not getting any business, right? That's just not going to happen. Why would I go to him when the next response is about 3 sentences longer, provides a little bit more value, and is from a guy who's got a picture and looks like a pro? It's just not going to happen. Second step, post to the forums intelligently. Let me show you an example of an unintelligent forum post because I think we all know what an intelligent one looks like. This guy posts to the marketplace and says, I hope I'm in the right section, but I'm looking for more agents in the Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice, Northport, Florida market. Well, the next post is from a lady who says, have you considered buying property in Connecticut? Excuse me, this post had nothing to do with Florida, and our moderation team will remove you. This is stupid. Don't be stupid in your contributions to the forums. It's kind of common sense there. Like, this lady is from Connecticut. She should be setting up keywords and looking for business in Connecticut, not from the guy who's talking about Florida. That makes no sense. Be smart about how you contribute. And the third action step would be to sign up for Pro and use these tools to begin scaling your business. And hold on for 1 second here. I think we got a couple of questions. Can you use that BiggerPockets Meet with only a regular profile? David, yes, you can use BiggerPockets.com/meet with a regular profile. However, you cannot meet out-of-area investors without a Pro membership. So you can meet local business, but you can't do people in other towns. Does that answer your question? Dana, quick question for you. Can you please post about posting your blog content on BiggerPockets? I'm not sure about your link question here, but can you post something to give you credit back for an SEO purpose? Dana, posting a blog or a forum post on BiggerPockets is free. So you can link back to various sites. However, if you link to your own site in a forum post or a member blog post, generally we'll remove that because that's against our policy. That falls under the category of self-promotion, and our moderation team will generally remove that. I hope that answers that. That's Dana Hoffman's question. Dana Late, how do you see events in your area? BiggerPockets has an area on the site called the Real Estate Events and Happenings Forum, and you can go and check out events in your area right there. Ramon, is there a good link or blog post forum that further outlines what's allowed and what's not allowed doing business on BiggerPockets? Yes, Ramon, there's a whole blog post that I've updated called, well, I need to actually update it again, but it's called BiggerPockets.com/biz. That post right there is a really good way to get a much more in-depth read through in writing of the things I'm discussing here. All right, Susan asks, where do I upload my logo? Susan, that's we'll discuss that question at the end here. Why don't you email me and I'll give you my contact information at the end of this. Alrighty, going back to the presentation here, setting up for Pro. Pro will help you scale your business, right? We've talked about the forum signature. You can see that this guy, Chris Clothier, has got 1,250 posts. He talks about his business, his logo, all these different things in his signature. And again, this goes with the meat of how people are finding him, right? His profile matters, but guess what? Nobody's looking up your profile. They're looking at your forum posts as they troll around the forums. They're not just searching for Chris Clothier in the forums. They're searching for, things like how do I find a good contractor or inspector in Memphis, right? Chris Clothier is a guy from Memphis, Tennessee. He responds to threads like that with quality information, providing his recommendations and his thoughts. And at the end of every one of those, he's got his post. If you come up 10 times in discussions about you go through 10 discussions in Memphis, you're going to see him 5 times, and he's going to post 5 really quality comments. Very, very powerful for establishing himself as an expert in his area. And here's a testimonial that Chris gave us. I'll let you read it for a second. All right. The next thing we discussed, as a recap here, is the keyword alerts. We've done this example twice. I think it's the most powerful example that I've got because it's just so chock full of keywords and so obvious that Dimitri has set this up and so obvious that he gets benefits out of it, having done it 5,500 times. Again, regular accounts get 5, plus members get 10, and pros get 999. The third one is the marketplace. I haven't touched on this yet, but it's pretty important if you are a certain type of real estate professional. For example, you're listing properties as an agent. You can avoid doing some of those things that would normally violate the 5 S's because it's a paid platform. People are expecting to see sales. They're expecting to see some self-promotion. Let's not have any sleaze or spam, please. But you can solicit business there. That is the purpose of the marketplace, is to advertise your products, your services, and to promote things that you want to promote. That's the reason why you're paying us. So you can see, here's an example, it's a pretty active community. You can see new properties, you got funding, you've got, more properties, you've got an educational piece of content there by Gino at the bottom. And I definitely encourage you to go check out the marketplace right now and look at the things that are going on there live at the moment. And here's an example of a more targeted post. Like this is like an actual post in the marketplace. You can see they've got information about, here's the property I've got. I'm looking for rehab funding. I want to find a lender. So people are actually paying for the privilege to solicit your services. They want to find, like, if you're a lender and you're listening to this webinar right now, people are paying us. This guy's a pro member who's just an investor and a rehabber. He's paying us to post an ad to get in front of you. It should be backwards, right? You should be going to him and finding that business before your competition. But that's what's going on, again, actively in our marketplace, in our community. And again, those 5 S's, solicitation, well, you can do some of those things in our marketplace. I lied a little bit about saying that they're never permitted. Next thing we've got are tools. So pro memberships have access to property analysis and file downloads. This might not help you necessarily in certain professions within the real estate industry, but it can help you in others. This type of report, this could be a great thing to put together for a client if you're a real estate agent or even a lender. Here's the cash flow that your property is going to produce. Here's some things that I would change about the inputs that you've made to get a more reasonable analysis. This is a tool that will provide a really professional report in a way that's pretty easy for most people to understand, and will ensure that you don't really miss any of those inputs that sometimes investors or sometimes even experienced investors will miss. And the other thing we've got a file place. The file place is full of things like lease agreements, inspection checklists, all these different forms that landlords might need that you can provide to your clients as a resource, or give them access to if that's something that would be interesting to you. This is an example of an Excel spreadsheet that I put together and uploaded to FilePlace for the benefit of our users. And everyone is free to download it and check it out, put in their inputs and do this type of analysis for themselves. A powerful tool for some sorts of real estate professionals and perhaps irrelevant to some other ones. Last thing we talked about was the profile video. Again, you can just post a video up to YouTube. I hope you make it really professional if you're going to use it for the BiggerPockets profile and try to get business from it. But again, you can post that to your profile and people will use it. So to recap some things here, BiggerPockets is not about the quick sale. You're not going to be able to solicit and spam all of our users and send lots of messages to people and tell them about your great funding program. But it's about providing value. And it's not going to get rich quick, but it's going to be immensely profitable. Just like real estate investing itself, it's a snowball. That first you have one post, you might get a little bit of traction from that, but you get 20, 25, 100, you're going to start seeing a snowball of action going on for your business and your sales process. And these are really targeted, really high quality potential clients that are using our site and interacting on our forums and working with us. One of my favorite threads, if you want to check it out, is called "How Much Money Has BiggerPockets Made for You?" It's a 100 post long thread, and my favorite quote on that entire thread is a guy named Brian Ortons, and he says, "Over $10,000 as a real estate agent, over $50,000 as a contractor this year, not including my real estate investing." So he invests, he's got his license, he's a contractor, and he uses BiggerPockets for all three. And just by contributing, he's generated those kind of numbers. And he's not even one of those big time players with thousands of posts that I was just talking about. He's only got 307 posts, probably a few months of work and hanging out, probably having fun, probably learning for himself. And guess what? He's got his profile decked out as well too here. He's got his name, his company, his email, his logo, what he does, all that good stuff right there in his profile. And he thanks our founder, Josh Dorkin, in his endorsement here. There's dozens of endorsements and testimonials on BiggerPockets. You can check them out at biggerpockets.com/pro and see some of the big time players that are telling us about the benefits they get of engaging on BiggerPockets and through the pro membership, especially with the paid features that really help them scale their business. In addition, today, if you want to sign up, I have a discount code. It's 3624. It'll get you 20% off the pro annual package if you want to get started implementing some of these things. Again, that's 3624, and you can plug that in right there on the account upgrade page at the bottom. Once you get past that, you'll be given a welcome tour, which will go over a lot more of these things. And because I had that big slide at the beginning of this presentation, I have recorded this webinar, and I'll try to post this either there or maybe YouTube, somewhere where you guys can access it and learn from these techniques if you ever want to review it. If you have other advertising interests, I'm your point of contact for that as well. I handle all of the ad sales and business development relationships here at BiggerPockets. My email is scott@biggerpockets.com. I'll post that again in case everyone forgets. And now I'll go through some of these more questions that have come in. David asks, where do you post this kind of ads? Never mind, I found it. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I saw a few come in there, but it looks like some of those guys got their answers just in the normal course of me discussing the rest of the presentation. I'm happy to leave this up here for the next couple of moments or next couple of minutes while people kind of think up things. But now is a good time to ask questions and have me explain them with my voice rather than an email if that's something you prefer. Mike asks, how do you get a banner ad at the top of the website? Banner ads can be purchased through Google AdWords. You can go and set those up and get them to target BiggerPockets. We'll go through there occasionally and make sure that those ads aren't things that we do not want on our site, things that are unprofessional. But yeah, those can usually be purchased through Google AdWords. In some cases, if you're looking to buy it in very large bulk, I think a minimum is $5,000, you can purchase those directly through me, and you can email me at scott@biggerpockets.com for those kind of orders. So those will usually be for the national website, and we won't really target by state or region or anything like that, but we do have that option available. Any other questions? David, what is the price for the pro membership? The pro membership is going to be $29 per month, or $290 for the entire year. So a very nominal cost for the value. Again, that's $290 per year or $29 per month. And if you sign up using the discount code, we'll give you $58 off the $290 price, which will be $232. So if it gets you one sale or one loan or one property listing, could be well worth the money many times over. And I suspect it'll get you a lot more than that. Well, that's the end of the webinar here. I'm going to turn off the recording now. And if anybody has more questions, I'll hang around for the next 5 or 6 minutes and happy to answer them. But let me know if there's anything. And yeah, well, that concludes everything. So again, thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I hope it was valuable. And I'd love an email feedback if you get a chance, just letting me know how I did, how I could have improved things, what things I didn't touch on that you would have liked me to touch on. Those sorts of things. Really love that feedback.